Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? I hope you are all feeling good despite the current situation we are facing right now. Always remember that education is a key for success. So, it is indeed important to have a good education. Do you agree or not? Before we dive into our lesson, does any one of you has an idea about the problem that the Philippine education is facing nowadays? Does any one of you who wants to answer? Just raise your hand. Okay. Yes, you are correct. To start our discussion, let us first have a brief introduction about the Philippine education, and later on, we will be discussing about the matching problematic learning situation with probable action. Are you ready to learn? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Philippines' educational system is often mistreated by numerous groups, often called for having a failed governance, affordability issues, a lack of properly educated and motivated teaching staff members, and the most famous term coined is the brain drain. These have then placed the entire educational system of the nation in the spotlight. Is it, however, really a failed system, or are we just looking at it too negatively? Well, we must first take a look at the educational system on a macro level. First of all, the educational system is in fact the sector that actually receives the most national budget in the country.
As we indulge in our participation and teaching assistantship, let us take a look at some teaching learning problems that the Philippine education is facing nowadays. Setting new benchmarks for teacher education is no mean task. This learning episode will help improve teacher performance by enhancing both the pre-service and in-service phases of teacher education. Matching problematic learning situation with probable action is a key for an effective outcome of education. Identifying a problem is a tricky task. Action research begins with identifying a problem. Oftentimes, it is one of the difficult things to begin with, but matching these problems with appropriate action is trickier. As we explore this learning episode, let us take a look at its learning outcomes. First is to analyze teaching learning problems prevailing in the classroom, and the second one is list matching action as a probable solution to the teaching learning problems. We have identified 5 problems in teaching learning. We take action as solution in every given problem. The first one is reading difficulty. Students cannot comprehend the text and can't able to identify words that are not familiar with them. In order to help those kind of students, we need to implement more reading books into classroom course and be a volunteer for Brigada Pagbasa to help them read and comprehend like most of my groupmates are doing. We tutor students 5 hours a week for 10 months. The second one is financial. Financial problems faced by students are known as they do not have enough money for their daily expenses. Where money worries is causing them to stress, other than that, it will affect their mental and physical health. To ease their difficulty, a teacher can assist them to apply for educational assistance, hire them as student assistant, and somehow they can also apply for scholarship like Unifast, City Scholar, and so on. At the same time, they have the option to be a working student. Third one is teacher. They have endless paperwork that affects the quality of their teaching, and also because the lack of teacher employment in the Philippines due to low salary rate. Their mental and physical health is failing, and the salary they receive is not enough to compensate their hard work, as they also use their own pocket for school expenses. The best action to take is that the government should employ more teachers, increase their salary rate and benefits as well. Fourth one is management. Some teachers fail in classroom management that leads to chaos classroom and an effective learning process. The modality of learning, which is 30 minutes of video lesson and 30 minutes processing, is not followed due to the hectic schedule of teachers, which is 30 minutes every class. The action to take is to have an additional classroom and the strict rules to follow in classroom policies. The last identified problem is lack of confidence. Lack of confidence is when someone has no guts to do something new to him or her. It is a situation where someone can't apply the basic possible option he or she can do to accomplish the given task to him or her. The most possible solution in order to address this problem is to develop or bring out the hidden talent or skill inside them. What have you noticed from the problems identified in teaching learning? Can there be more than one solution to the problem? The identified problems in teaching learning are demanding, as a lot of children have no access to education. A creative and innovative teacher can find one or more than one solution or answer to the same problem. The more solutions identified to choose from, the better for an action researcher. Now, let's analyze some scenarios in a daily life of a teacher. Miss Efeli is a grade 4 teacher in a typical elementary school. She has 40 learners in her class. One half of them cannot classify animals into vertebrates and invertebrates. She has been repeating the same science lesson for 2 weeks, yet no progress was observed. This situation has been bothering Miss Efeli.
Number 1 question. Can you identify Miss Fella's problem? The problem is when half of them cannot classify animals into vertebrates and invertebrates, and she has been repeating the same science lesson for 2 weeks, yet no progress was observed. Number 2 question. Can you find a solution to solve her problem? Give 2 suggestions. First, try other teaching format like build in time to walk around and let the students to observe. Second, avoid yes or no questions. Let your students to reflect and to think more. Number 3 question. What solution can solve Miss Fella's problem and how? Both suggested solutions are effective. Try other teaching format like build in time to walk around and let the students to observe. Through that way, you are giving chances to all the students who cannot figure out your topic and observing outside the classroom can help understand science topics. Example, zoo or animal museums. Let's analyze another scenario. Sir Ryan teaches in a disadvantaged urban community. Most of his learners come from families that are disrupted, either with single parents or with their guardians who stand only as a parent. They are deprived of the necessary food, clothing, and shelter.
Can you identify the most probable teaching learning problems in the class of Sir Ryan? Yes, you are correct. Poor performance of the students because of financial problems, and it is hard for them to focus on the class because of the problems at home. Can you propose a solution to solve one of the problems that you have identified? If we could give more support like foods, donation from other teachers, we would. And we will also tell to the barangay officials about the problems and ask the embedded programs they are planning to solve that case.
It is very important to solve it because it will affect the future of the students.
After reading two scenarios above, how would identifying problematic situations and finding solutions to this problem help you to become a better teacher? As a future educator, you must be observant in order to identify problematic situations by allowing yourself to pay attention to the details that occurs in your surrounding. Identifying problematic situations in the classroom and finding potential solutions will help us to become a better educator by improving our ability to look and observe attentively. What problematic situation prevails in the classroom? It is hard to focus on your studies because of reading difficulty that affects your learning. What change do you want to achieve? We want our class to be more productive and eager to learn more and explore learnings. What strategies you will use to improve the situation? Create some activities that students can also learn, reflect, and explore in a way that they need to be creative but do not need expensive materials. What would be the title of your action research should you conduct this study? Improving reading comprehension through the use of phonemes and morphemes is the title of our action research. This area is to focus improving reading comprehension through the use of phonological awareness. Proving some activities like tutorials will help to improve the reading comprehension of the students. This is our action research entitled Improving Reading Comprehension Through the Use of Phonemes and Morphemes. It was prepared by the FS2 students, Group 4. The area of focus of our project is improving reading comprehension through the use of phonological awareness. Without the basic knowledge of reading skills, the researcher feels the students struggle hard through their schooling. By learning or having knowledge about phonemes, the researcher hopes to provide solid foundation needed to succeed. The survey conducted by the researcher says that the student can even produce correct sounds of a letter, so the researcher provides activities and tutorial to improve the reading comprehension. As the researcher of this research, we have found out that most of the high school students are able to read words but cannot perfectly pronounce the word, especially unfamiliar words. We are hoping that by incorporating knowledge about phonemes and morphemes, the students would be able to transfer and make connections to reading. This is important in order for a student to be successful. It would improve the reading comprehension and become lifelong learners. The Reading Comprehension Indicator Index had a total of 30 sentences divided into 3 parts that would measure the ability of the students to comprehend the passage. Part 1 of the index consists of easy-to-understand sentences. Part 2 consists of sentences that is difficult enough to comprehend. And now, it is time to assess your understanding about the topic. Match the problems listed in column A with corresponding probable solutions in column B. You may use the letter once, more than once, or not at all. This is the activity that you need to answer. These are the possible answers for the situation number 1, which is the connectivity for online learning. The probable action to take is the use of flexible learning. For disruptive classroom behavior, the teacher can rearrange the classroom setting. For poor interest and motivation, the teacher can use some rewards to motivate the student and to hook the interest to participate in the class. The fourth one is parental non-involvement. The probable action to take is to have a regular parent-teacher circle. It is indeed important to have a parent involvement to track the behavior and improvement of a child. The last problematic situation is at-risk student. The solution to take is to have the student a silent reading exercises and a group studies or study buddies.